WNTN Radio Boston. Welcome back to my show, Itali-Echo. This is your host, Viviana Dragani, and today my guest is Jerome Almon. He's a political scientist, desert war veteran, entertainment CEO, and head of a union. He will talk about that. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So tell us more about you and what you do.
I'm a trained political scientist. I've worked on United Nations projects at the University of Toronto. I've also worked with European Union top negotiators. I actually know President Trump. I have advised two presidents, President Obama and President Bush, in unofficial capacities. And I also spent a year in the Desert Wars as a paratrooper, uh, explosive expert, and translator. I also run an entertainment company. I've been featured in every major magazine and TV network in the United States, Canada, and most of Europe, including TMZ, Gannett, USA Today, CBS, MTV, VH1, so on and so forth.
Wonderful. And what is your union and what is it seeking to do?
The union is called the Gigrevolt Union. And what the union is for is America's 40 years behind Europe in terms of labor, particularly in terms of workers' rights. So it's made to move America forward for a number of reasons. One is it's the only thing that's going to work to save America with the perilous situation we're in. And it's the only way that we'll end up reversing the trend of middle class people becoming poor people. So there are 60 million gig workers in America. Those are your bartenders, your Uber drivers. Okay. That's 1/3 of all workers in America. But we're also bringing in veterans, fast food workers, grocery workers, anyone that's not represented by a union because of this. In Europe, countries like Denmark and Scandinavia, 50 to 70% of the population is in a union, including the majority of the time, over 50% of the population is in one union. That one union represents everything from bus drivers, pilots, to singers and actors. That's why you have in Europe 6 months to 3 years maternity leave for both parents, guaranteed 30-day vacation from day one, uh, health care coverage for all. You have the highest standard of living on earth in the Scandinavian countries, in the majority of Europe, like Germany. People don't understand that. And for instance, with healthcare, America spends twice as much per person as Europe does, and you still have uh, a third of the population not covered for medical treatment.
Absolutely. I'm European and I understand perfectly what you're saying. And what do you think of the current world situation from the Ukraine war to America's future?
Well, it's a disaster for America. The war is already won by Russia, and the Russians know it, the Chinese know it, the Australians know it. Everybody knows it but Americans. Um, Vladimir Putin lured us into a trap. We're in a war that's going to last for decades, or it's a war where the Ukraine will quit really quickly. They have no signs of having a sense to quit. So this is a situation. Uh, President Putin has killed Ukraine's best troops. Russia is a country that is not going to quit a war in Europe. During World War II, Russia lost 27 million people, including 10 million soldiers. They still won the war. More than any country, not America, Russia won the war in Europe. Okay? So that situation is over. And it's led to a disaster for America because even the head of the British military, Sir Patrick Sanders, recently notified the British military prepare for a land war against Russia in Europe. So that means he is expecting Britain to get hit. Okay, the former head of the German CIA, it's called the Bundesnachrichtendienst, BND. His name is Gerhard Schindler. He says the war is already over. He's hoping Germany doesn't get hit, but he expects Germany to get hit. And he's saying that this is a bigger plan between Russia and China, with those two countries ending up dominating the world. Now, he's absolutely right. The Australians are saying the same thing. Jim Molan, who's a current member of parliament, but he's a former major general, he's saying America cannot win a war either in Europe or against China. Said it's impossible, it's over. And a matter of fact, he says if China attacks Taiwan, they will begin by attacking Australia, Japan, South Korea, and the American territories of Guam and Diego Garcia. At the same time, the Russians will roll into the Baltics and into Poland. And he believes America will run to Germany's border in Europe and run completely out of the Western Pacific where Australia, India, and China are at, and take their complete fleet with them. We can't win a war. The military we have is not capable of beating any enemy we have.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And you mentioned some people you know and you worked with. Tell us more. Who have you worked with in the past?
Yeah, you can go and Google my name in New York Times, and you'll see the first thing that pops up is an article on myself and President Trump. I've known him for 25 years because a friend of mine was heavyweight champ of the world, and he boxed at one of Trump's casinos. I've also worked with, his name is Dr. Mitya Zager. Ironically, he helped write the Constitution where President Trump's wife Melania is from, Slovenia. He was a Warsaw Pact officer. Okay, that is the Soviet version of NATO. But because Slovenia went into NATO after the Soviet Union collapsed, now he's a top European Union negotiator. I've also worked under Dr. Otto Feinstein, who was one of the leaders of the Peace and Conflict Studies Department at the most well-known center in America, Wayne State University. I've also advised Scotland Yard, the FBI, Department of Homeland Security. I've been contacted by two prime ministers of Canada for advice on terrorism. I'm a published author on the subjects of terrorism, school shootings, and entertainment. I actually am the foremost authority on school shootings and mass shootings on the planet. That's why they consult me. I'm the only person that has accurately predicted both trends and events. I was directly involved in the Las Vegas mass shooting, the Paris Bataclan mass shooting, Pulse nightclub mass shooting, San Bernardino mass shooting investigations. This is the mayors, the police chiefs from New York to Scotland Yard to the Bundespolizei, which is Germany's federal police equivalent to FBI, all have sought advice from me, including the Australian foreign minister right on down the line. So my background is very varied, but very verified in this area. If you Google my name in DHS, FBI, Canada, you'll see numerous articles on me concerning these subjects.
Thank you. And last question for you. What should the audience get most from this interview?
This is the most important thing. America bet on the wrong people with the wrong plans. The inflation that you see is permanent. Everyone's savings right now is worth 50% of what they were last year. It's going to get a lot worse really quickly. The month will be October. That is the month to look out for a lot of things, from the Ukraine to China, Taiwan, but the American economy. The only hope America has is to go the way of Europe in terms of a super union where the worker, which is families, are put first. There is nothing in the world that can reverse the situation that's going on. I'll give you final point. China has the world's largest GDP, not America. They have a $24 trillion economy. America has a $20 trillion economy. 75% of the American economy is consumer spending. Only 50% of the Chinese economy is. So once they match us, their economy will be $36 trillion plus another $46 trillion as the per capita spending of Chinese, because there are a billion more Chinese than there are Americans, match American spending. Even Elon Musk agrees with this. He stated the same last year. I stated it in the 90s. We're never going to catch back up. Our military is second rate. Our economy is second rate. But what happened in 2008 with the Wall Street bailout, that is going to happen again. If you remember President Bush, 1 month comes up, September, and says the economy is great, it's fine. In October, he comes and says, if we don't come up with $14 trillion to give the banks, our economy is over. It's going to be worse this time.
Wow. Thank you so much for your opinions today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Have a good one, Viviana.
You too.
Bye.